you're watching this back. It's not actually live because we all know what happened when it went live. So this is take 2 of D365UG Bristol with my virtual customer service session, where hopefully I can take you through a few ideas on how it works. So I am Mark Christie. I work for Incremental Group up in Scotland as a principal consultant. My main background is actually in field service stroke customer service. So that's where a lot of the ideas and everything that I do comes from. I've been in Dynamics since version 3, I think was the first one. So yeah, we're going back a good 14 years now since it all kicked in and I started to have a play around with it. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover a little bit of Microsoft's new virtual agent. Now remember not to call it a bot because somebody will get in trouble. We're looking at Forms Pro, so the Pro version and not the the free version. Microsoft Flow and how we can utilize the data that comes from Forms Pro. There's a little box missing here where we're talking a bit about field service and how we get from Flow to field service to remote assist. But we will finish off on remote assist and how we can use that to leverage repairing some stuff. So let's have a look at what happened in my day first. I will be having my
Mark, can I borrow your headphones?
As long as you don't break them.
Yeah. Thanks. They're not working.
What have you done? So what you'll get from that is Lucy has broken my headphones with her absolute horrible Backstreet Boys or Take That or Boyzone, some cheesy 90s or maybe even 80s pop. So what we're going to do is we're now going to jump over to the virtual agent for customer service demo site. Now as you're building your virtual agents, you will have the chance to go to either the demo site, which are on here, or you can copy and paste the code into your own website. I'll be honest, I'm not that good with websites or demos apparently, but website in general, so when I copy the code in it doesn't look too good. So for this demo that we're going to go with here, I will use the Microsoft demo page. So we've built this with a lot of prompt and response. All the things that we're doing here are really centered around customer service and pushing people down a path. So it's prompt and response. It's given the customer the option of what they want to select. So you'll see here we've got customer responses. So we're greeting them, we're asking them what they want, they're selecting a topic. We'll go away, we'll look at the next set of questions, we'll say, right, okay, what's wrong? It's the Surface headphones are broken. Now each one of these questions will send you to a different next stage. So this is where it starts to branch out. If you've used branching, or even if you've started to use business rules or drawn out any logic in Visio, because I'm quite one that likes the good old Visio, you can see quite easily how this does it in the background when we get to that. So what we've said here is there's no connection. We're then putting the customer to the website. And I think I've used, yeah, there we go. So we've used the Microsoft Surface warranty page. We can flick through it. We can test everything it's telling us to do. So we've tested that. None of it works. So the next part of the phase of what we're doing here is sending them off to Forms Pro. So we're sending them to Forms Pro. We can click on the button. We can say, yeah, that's worked. We can then do X, Y, and Z. So this is these are the bottom bits that you just fill out to say, right, here's your CSATs and everything along those lines. So that's fine. So what we'll do, we've said that it didn't work. Can it help with anything else? No. we jump off to Forms Pro, complete the process, job's a good one. Now, this is us in the background, so straight away, if we just roll through it, it maybe looks a little bit daunting. There is quite a lot of information there. If you've used Visios, you'll get this in minutes. We'll zoom in just a little bit here. So we've got the original trigger phrases. Now the trigger phrases could be something along the lines of hello, hi, hiya pal, what's up, how you doing? Could be anything like that. So there's a lot in there. At the moment, it doesn't train to pick up new phrases, but there will be a dashboard when it becomes general availability to look at what words are being missed, and then you can manually add them in. There's no intelligence to automatically add them in. So we're jumping down a little bit here. You can see the user responses. We've got a few responses in here. I've deliberately done this so that the new purchases will take you to the Microsoft Store. Where's my order? We'll check your updated order, and the next one, which is cancel my order, will take you to that. Now we've just put some more generic, here's the links and thanks, cheers pal, goodbye. So this is the big one. If there's no responses here, sorry I can't help, see you later, go away. If you've done what we've trained it to do, then we will go to the next one, which will say select your product, which is your headphones. We're going down a path that we're making them go down. So if you've got a Surface or you've got a Surface Book or a Surface Mouse, unlucky, see you later, goodbye. Ends with a survey. If we follow the process that we want to take them down, we have got no connection, no sound and no power. And each one of these has their own user story, or sorry, not user story, they have their own link to the website. It sends it to the help me, did it work, yes or no? If it works yes, awesome, great, goodbye. If it works no, please complete the survey, go to this next place. And that will take you down that way, and that's the end of the conversation. So yes, it is quite big, it's quite bulky, and it's scary if you look at it first and you've not seen any of it. But when you actually get into it, it's not that difficult. Now, one thing to tell you at the moment, we are working in a US tenancy here, so we're only based in the US, which means I cannot use this to connect directly into my own instance. If I could automatically, when you get to that final stage, take the variables that have been put in, pass them into Flow, get Flow to create the case. But because we're in US only, I can't connect it up for now. But that's the premise of what you'll be able to do. There are other parts of the system that will come at a later date, which would be handing off to an agent, handing off to third-party pieces of software. If you think of Flow at the moment, how there's lots of big things in Flow, this is where this is going to be as it gets bigger and it gets a little bit more involved. So we're now going to hand over to the Forms Pro side of things, where we can ask questions, get answers, and send that data into other systems. So we can personalize questions based on integrations to different ERPs, is the kind of the Microsoft go-to point. So this is just the front end of it. This is what the customer will see. So we've got headphones that are broken with a serial number of help me now. They were purchased on today, the 11th, and Lucy broke them with the bad Backstreet Boys. Now I will put a spoiler in here. I don't know if she even likes the Backstreet Boys. Personal details, we're going to put in first name, last name, email address, and then submit. So that was quite simple. We've created the form, we have filled it in, and then we will pick this up on the back end from Flow. What I'll quickly do is show you the back end of Forms Pro, how quickly we can just add a question. How great is Mark is usually a question I like to ask myself every day. and just decided that Grammarly would stop and annoy me. So it's quite simple. You can add as many questions in as you want. You can put some validation. You can have, if they're required, if they're visible, you can branch them. You can have multiple pages. You can do themes, previews. It's just a really good way of putting it in front of a customer, getting them to build something really quickly and then doing something smart in the back end. So this instance, we are, rather than going out and creating a full-blown portal, we're just doing a quick fill in this form, it'll come to us and we'll try and fix your item for you. It could be used for marketing, customer service. There's quite a few different things. So that's the simple way of getting it together. You also do have the out-of-the-box responses where you can see who's responded, what the sentiment is on that, but that's not really what we want to show you. We want to show you the awesome things that Microsoft Flow can do. So I kind of describe Flow a little bit as if this then that. So you have lots of different flows that you can trigger based on events happening in the system. Just jumping into the background of Flow, so you can see we have our flow here that's run quite a few times. That one just ran 3 minutes ago. So this is forms to CDS. So what we're doing is when the case is submitted, go back to Forms Pro, get a list of responses, get the IDs of the response, go into CDS, look at the current instance, pick up the contacts, and then match it or filter it by the email address. So what we're going to do is we are going to now look to see if the contact exists, if we manage to match a contact. So what we're doing now is looking at the output and checking it. So if there is no contact, we will create a new contact record and create a new case. If it does match the email address, it will bring back that contact record, create a case, and then append the contact to the case. So it's quite a simple thing, but this is what the sort of ideas that you can do with Flow sitting in the background. So now we're going to have a look at the bit that I like the best, which is the remote assist part. Now, remote assist, if you think of maybe the HoloLens, it's not the cheapest thing in the world to put a HoloLens on every site. So let's just take the HoloLens out and see if we can use the mobile phone. So we are now picking up the case that we created. So Mark Christie's got a case, it's pulled through all the information. I'm just going to set a few extra parameters. So I'm now saying it's a case around the headphones. And you'll see all of the eBay emails that I've got come through. So I'm selecting my incident type of headphones not syncing. So I've got my incident type. If I now go back to my summary, we should then be able to start to schedule it on the schedule board. But yeah, as always, something doesn't always go right, so we'll go back into the case, and what we have to do is make sure that's set, but we have to convert it to a work order to be able to schedule it, so we're not scheduling the case directly. And we have to make sure that the account, so you can't schedule a work order unless you've got an account, so we'll just flick that over to say S3, and we will put in my wife because it's set up that way. And let's be honest, I probably used her bank card to buy these headphones in the first place. So now that we have got a customer and the contact, we can then go off and create the work order, which it should be doing in the background now. Do we want to do it? Yes. Save the data, generate the work order. So there we have work order 64. So let's just head over to the schedule board. Work order 64, there we go, and let's just schedule that for the best engineer there is, Mark Christie. He'll be able to fix it. And normally you wouldn't be scheduling it to yourself, but when we want to make the remote assist a call, I need to be able to append the work order to it. But hopefully at the moment you're kind of gathering a whole picture on how you can use all the new Microsoft technology and stitch it together. So we've scheduled the work order. It is against me. If I open the Field Service mobile app, that will sync down to my phone and I can then work on it. But in this instance, we are going to use the Remote Assist app. And the Remote Assist app, I can then call anyone who's in Teams and they can share information, they can share product manuals, they can point to where things need to be fixed. It's quite cool on how it can go back and forward and update work orders at the end. So if we just switch over now to the mobile app, he says confidently, boom. Nah, oh there we go. Now I thought it would maybe be better just me talking through this than you having to listen to Ian. So Ian is on the other end, I just have to map the area quite quickly. So as you'll see all of the gadgets that I've got while I'm doing this presentation live in Bristol and not in my studio apartment. So that should be mapped now. So you can see my lovely Diamante skull with my Surface headphones on it. Now I must say this this demo of the skull with the diamond is probably better than the model that I had when we tried this one earlier. So we're speaking to Ian at the moment, he can see everything, we're having a little bit of conversation on what's broken, what's not. So he's asked me to turn it around, have a little look at it. There's a button that needs to be turned a little bit, so Ian's just kind of pointing in the right direction of where it needs to be facing. So there we go, let's just turn it. Okay, so that's turned. He thinks that should fix it if we turn it a little bit more and press the button. So there we go, we've pressed the button. Fingers crossed, there we go, 10 seconds, it's done the reset, so we should be working now. We will just hang up the call. We will thank Ian for all of his help, hang up the call, and then move on to attaching the work order. So he's now just being pedantic and saying, was it there or there? So you can mark up, you can change the different colours. I'm bored of his help, I think it's going to work anyway. So I'm just going to leave it at that point and then flick back, and hopefully when I hang up the call it will pop up and say what work order do I want to assign this against. I can then select the work order, there we go. So work order, post it, select the work order that it's against and post. So that will then become an app. And did it work? Yes or no? Okay, so here's the telling thing. Did it actually work?